Well, first of all, thank you for helping us celebrate Entrepreneur Week. Sometimes us entrepreneurs find it a very lonely business, so thank you for supporting us, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be part of the Shark Tank. My name is Bert Quintanilla, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you a project I've been working on for about a year and a half called Enviro Clean. We were a company that formed about April of 2012 here in Texas for the purpose of going after something called Eagle Ford Shale. I'm not going to bore you with the numbers of Eagle Ford Shale. I can just tell you that in the next 18 years, it's estimated that Nueces County, who's not even in Eagle Ford Shale, will benefit by $25 billion of downfall funding and economic benefits. Wonderful economic engine for our area, wonderful economic engine for Texas. So the project overview, how we started, is that we have an exclusive license agreement from a nano-based technology that keeps the oxidation and decompression of heavy metals. Basically, it removes iron, sulfides, and all the heavy metals out of the frack water that we're talking about. Let me just kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. Each well that's fracked takes about 6 million gallons of water. It's fresh water, it's clean, it's clear, and then each company puts their own recipe in there, from barite to salt to all sorts of chemicals, and they push it down in the hole a mile deep and pressurize it to break the shell. So about on average, 18% of that water comes back up, and it's called frack water, produced water. It actually looks, well, I had some here, but this one took it. It's black. It's like black coffee. And then basically at this point, they take it to a salt disposal area, which are all over the state of Texas. They try to take the oily water, and they skim it, and then they shoot what's left 2 miles down in the ground. So a couple of issues that's happened there is that it's a resource. We have to try to find a way to get our resource back in play. That's way too much of our natural resources to be throwing down the hole. And on top of that, the companies are spending anywhere from the average of $4 to $10, up in West Texas, even more than that per barrel. So it's an economic bottom line issue for the companies that are doing the exploration. Our method is protected by an issued patent. It's a method patent. So basically, anyone trying to do what we're doing on an industrial aspect of it, we're covered by that patent. And the product is 100% natural. So in a quick snapshot, we were organized to develop, market, and sell water, oil, and soil treatment products and methods in the expanding oil and gas development market. Our technology and intellectual property was developed by Temple University in Philadelphia, State University of New York, and the Nanotechnology Institution of Philadelphia. But the best part was our market, product manufacturing, and projections were all based on resources here in Corpus Christi from Texas A&M, University of Corpus Christi, and this Innovation Center. Quite frankly, if it wasn't for this Innovation Center, I would have not made the decision to move forward with this, understanding really where the market was, where this place for this technology is in the market. All of that came from this institution. Our goal is rapid commercialization in near-term markets. Mobile produced water and recycling markets is really where we started. There's a need for that recycled water. But one of the things that happened during my due diligence throughout this year is that I met with 14 water recycling technology companies across the state. One of my other partner, Jeff Sword, has one here. Technology is fascinating. It's all over the place, from electrifying the water to putting all sorts of stuff in there to get it clean and clear. And I realized that I'm up against machines, and introducing a product that's natural and green. Quite frankly, I was in front of 3 CEOs early on in this process, and when they saw what I could do very quickly with their product, they said, number one, Bert, no one's making us do this. And number two, we really don't care about the clean green thing anyway. It's our bottom line. So we kind of repackaged, we understood that, we got the message, and we started really testing the frac water process, and really doing some beta testing with a lot of these technologies. We actually went out in the field with 3 different companies, and we found out something very interesting. These companies, even though they're very active in trying to get ahead of the market, there's no market for recycling water in Texas. You can't do it right now. There's no legislation overview. There's the water board. Nobody is overseeing that process. It's coming though. It almost passes legislative session. It will be part of, if you were part of Todd Hunter's meeting this last week, it's the beginning process of that legislative process for the next time. We're in the front part of that. So we want to make sure that we're at the table. But we realize something, that in the beta test that we're out there, the oil from Eagle Ford Shell, when you hear all the numbers and everything else, here's a couple of things you don't hear about. It's extremely, extremely heavy. They call it sour crude. It's extremely rich with iron, and it's creating a bunch of havoc. Even in the produced water, you get all these machines and all these companies, and some companies are in startup stage. Some have raised $8 million ready to go. All of them are having the same problem. This water is so thick that it's clogging up the filters. And guess what they're doing after they treat that water? They're injecting it with at least 3 different chemicals to lessen the heaviness of the water. So what our nano product does is that we're able to not only take the heaviness out of that water, but we also push the hydrocarbons all the way to the top. And that's your money. If you're in the salt disposal business, you want to have 100% of those hydrocarbons, because that sells at $60 a barrel. So we have a treatment that not only helps the devices clean the water, but the landowners of the salt disposal sites get all their oil and oily water out for market. So we realize that instead of marketing ourselves that we want to recycle water, we want to market to everybody. We can help you, we can make you a better process, make you more efficient, and get more of this clean water back into the industry. The second goal that we have is to treat abandoned coal mines acid water runoff. This is what gave birth to this technology in Philadelphia. As you know, here we don't have any coal mines. In the Northeast, there are hundreds and hundreds of these coal mines that are abandoned. This funding for this nanotechnology came from those institutions up there because they needed to figure out how to clean up this acid water. And that's what we do as well. And finally, in the last couple of months, we've realized that we can also remove iron from oil. And I got to tell you that we didn't start off down this path, but I guarantee you this is a huge path that we're after. And we're very, very blessed that we found a technology to do this, because this is a big issue in the industry. Our goal is to achieve an exit strategy in 5 years through merger and acquisition. Let me give you a quick description. Each application is called something we call reload, or produced water treatment. It takes about 90% of the heavy metals out of the solids, and it just creates a layer of water and pushes all the hydrocarbons up to the top for 100% of the skimming of that oily water. Fee control is our iron removal application. Our nanotechnology, the same product, we put it in a brine water solution, and we run it through a UV processor, which you can see the prototype back there. That makes the nanoparticles extremely more agitated and active, and it'll take up to about 93% of that iron out of that oil. It's very and it'll augment whatever is happening. One of the refineries that asked us to look at this process, all we have to do is put it into their process. We don't have to invent or sell you on a different way of doing it. Prior coat is the acid water cleanup. Again, this is a very simple process. You put this nano product in a different water solution, and you just spray the walls and the bottoms, everything that's causing the acid water, and it basically will keep it from the oxidation process forever. The 2 rivers that the Temple University did 2 years ago are still running at 6.5, and they're running at 3 acid levels. I'm going to skim through this because I've got 1 minute left. So in summary, we have exclusive right to game-changing technology in the new water treatment market, exclusive rights to money-saving technology for the oil and gas refinery market. We have proven we can take all the heavy metals binding applications. We basically, now that we control the license agreement, so no one else can do what we're doing, And on top of that, we also went to India and found out who are the 3 biggest manufacturers of this product, and we locked all 3 of those up. So we literally controlled the product and we controlled the method. And that's given us the broad range of applications just to get going. Example, the oil and gas, or removing the iron from oil, is huge. Just to kind of give you an idea of how big that is. In Texas, off the Gulf Coast, the refineries are spending millions and millions of dollars to redevelop their refinery process just to deal with that sour crude issue. We can come back in there and help. In the category of barrels we're talking about, is almost 1 million barrels per day. That's a lot different from 25,000 barrels for each hole of water. So it's gotten us bigger. We can have enough product here in Corpus Christi for the projections for the next 2 years of Eagle Ford Shale exploration. We can have all of that in a warehouse here in a month's time. So we are completely covered to take care of Eagle Ford Shale, but we are certainly looking beyond Eagle Ford Shale as well. The other thing that you don't know about is that Mexico is going to start drilling in 12 months. Their shale play is twice as big as Eagle Ford Shale. So not only is Nueces County in the shale play in the north, but it's completely surrounded on the other side. They have no technology, they have no equipment, and they have no way to train. Where do you think they're going to get their folks from? Hydro Enviro clean, keeping the economic engine running clean. Thank you.
Would cleaning up water in third world countries be a different kind of technology?
Yes. So you're talking about drinking water?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really think water technology, as far as cleaning up to get to that point, it's here now. I don't think you see it in Texas because the industry is just not there. One of our fellow mates, Jeff Soares' company, Aranya Water, is a technology that we're working hand in hand on the frac water, but his technology will do that for them. As a matter of fact, we have folks in India right now that are pushing and demonstrating his technology through our network in India. So the answer is yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
How large and costly is your equipment? In other words, is the cost low enough that you can economically take your process to a well to process water, or do you need to have a large plant and haul water to the plant?
Good question. So if we take the approach that Hydro Enviro Clean through Reload, which is a frac water application, is going to recycle that frac water. And by the way, we're limited to the container. If it's a pond, there's an equation, you put Reload in, and in 24 hours, you've got fresh water and everything else on the top to skip on. That cost to do that is right about $3 per barrel. Right now, the industry is spending in some parts of Eagle Ford Shale $4. Some parts in West Texas is high as $4 or $10 a barrel. But if I augment what I'm doing with, for example, the Aranya machine, and do less of the nanoparticles just to make it more efficient for him to run through and get the hydrocarbons up, or the folks that are making that profit make a profit, then we're talking about less than $1. So now you're starting to get a lot of people's attention because systems like Aranya and electrocoagulation systems, all those systems are running for about $1 a barrel or less. So the economic aspect of what we're doing is here now. We can compete without being clean and green, because it makes a difference to the bottom line.
You stated it, but could you state again what the throughput capacity or rate is?
I'm sorry, say it again.
The throughput is, like barrels or gallons per hour?
Absolutely. So the natural product by itself takes anywhere, and it depends on what application. The soil is immediate. The oil treatment is about 2 or 3 hours. Frac water, treating it by itself will take at least 12 to 24 hours to completely treat that water. If you're using it to create that hydrocarbon up where you kind of clean up the water a little bit and make it cleaner for the machine use, that's just a couple hours.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else?
Well,
Yes, sir.
work, keep the environment clean.
All right. This is, and as they do with the voice, when you text tonight, 403.